Hey everybody, I'm here to do your Worldly Wise lesson for this week. So hopefully you kept your Worldly Wise book. If you did not, it's okay. If you turned it in, you can just wait to get it next week, or if you're coming back to school next week, which I hope you are, we'll be looking at these a little bit next week too. So no worries if you turned it back in. But I did want to do the next lesson with y'all and introduce y'all to some new vocabulary words and read you the next story. So let's see what page you need to be on in your book. If you'll be on page 96 and 97, on these two pages you're going to see these 10 vocabulary words that we're going to go over, and also the 3 pictures to go with the story. And the story this week is called Castles in the Sand. And that reminds me of summertime and going to the beach. So I hope that we are going to be able to go to beaches sometime soon. That's one of Miss Marvette's favorite things to do, is take her kids to the beach and play in the waves, in the sand. So maybe this story will kind of take us there for a few minutes. Called Castles in the Sand. So hopefully you're on page 96 and 97 now. And let's go over these words that are in the story this week. The first word is the word awkward, okay? Awkward means clumsy and not graceful. Sometimes when maybe somebody has a cast on their leg or something, they might be kind of awkward the way that they walk. You've probably heard people say the word awkward when things are kind of different, okay? The second word is tide. Tide is like the level of the ocean that changes, okay? So sometimes you might hear people say the tide is in or the tide is high. The waves come further up on the beach. And when the tide is low, the waves are farther out. So when it's high, they're close. And whenever it's low, they go further out. So that's the word tide, okay? The next word is construct. Construct. What do you think construct means? Okay, I want you to think about maybe whenever we've done indoor recess and you've used the Tinker Toys or the marble racer thing that we have, and you've constructed something. So that means to build, right? To build something, to construct something. If you see like a new house being built, you may say they're doing construction on that house because they're building it. Tower. This reminds me of Rapunzel. Tower is just a tall, narrow building. And sometimes you see towers, or you often see towers on castles, okay? But if you think about if you've read the story or you've seen the movie, Rapunzel, she lived in a tower, which was very tall and high. And the last one on this side is drop. Drop. We have 2 different meanings of drop. If you drop something, of course, something would fall out of your hand or fall off a table, that would mean to drop. But also a drop of liquid or water, like if you just put a little tiny amount of water on something, that's just a little drop, okay? So those are 2 different definitions for the word drop. So when we're reading the story in a few minutes, I want you to think about how they're using that word drop. Are they using it like you drop something, like, or like a drop of water, okay? All right, the next word is bold. Bold, okay? Bold means the same thing as brave. Somebody that's not shy, but is very bold. They're confident in what they're doing. They're bold in how they talk or how they act, okay? Like a lion tamer would be very bold, that they're very brave, because they are not scared to work with lions, right? So I want you to think about what are some bold things that you've done before, or some other people that might be bold. The next word is divide. Divide. When you divide something, you split it into parts, right? So if all 10 of us, or 10 of you and me, we're all sitting there with a pizza, let's say, we could cut it into 11 parts and divide it up so everybody gets a piece, right? Okay. The next word is equal. We all know that word because we use it a lot in math with our addition and subtraction. We know what the equal sign looks like, don't we? Like that, okay? Equal means the same, right? So you can use equal whenever you're doing math. You can use equal when you're looking at, like, let's say Ethan has 5 toys and Ava has 5 toys, so the toys that they have are equal, right? My son Grant, he's been doing some baking in the kitchen a little bit. He likes to bake. Today he made brownies, so I'm excited to eat those. But he has to make sure that the sugar, both of the sugars that he uses, the white sugar and the brown sugar, are equal. They have to have the same amount, okay? So same, right? All right, length. We've learned about length in math. These are a lot of math words. The length of something is just how long it is, right? And the last one is receive. Receive. Receive is another way of saying to get. So every week you receive packets of work from me. So you receive something. For your birthday, you receive gifts, right? Sometimes you receive mail. So that means just to get something. Alrighty. So those are our 10 words. As I'm reading this story called Castles in the Sand, I want you to listen for each of these words, okay? All right, the weather was finally getting warm as the end of the school year got closer. Caroline, David, and their mother had entered a sandcastle contest at the beach. Now they were walking from the car, carrying pails, shovels, funnels, and beach bags. Mom walked awkwardly because she was carrying a big, heavy picnic basket. So I can imagine that, like trying to carry something big on the beach. It's kind of hard because of the sand, right? What kind of castle should we build? Asked Caroline, nearly dropping her pail. I don't know, said David, stopping to pull out his action figures, but it's got to be big enough for my bold knights. Where's the word bold? Bold. And for my princess and dragon, Caroline added, showing David the figures she had brought. Now that's teamwork, said Mom. We should check the list of rules and prizes before we start. David nodded. Then he looked out at the ocean and noticed that the tide was way out. Oh, good, he said. We don't have to worry about waves coming in and destroying our castle. Caroline, David, and their mother found a good spot and sat down to unload their things. Mom looked grateful to be able to put down the heavy picnic basket. Let's put on some sunblock before we do anything, said Mom. You don't want to ruin the day by getting a sunburn. As they put on their sunblock, they forgot all about checking the list of rules and prizes. Caroline and David were thinking about the splendid castle they were going to build. Let's start constructing the walls. Remember, building, said David. First, I need one of you to help me find some things to decorate the castle, said Mom. Okay, Mom, I'll walk with you while David gets started, said Caroline. They walked along the beach, and before long, the two of them had found lots of decorations for the castles. They had to divide everything between them in order to carry it all. Their hands and pockets were full of shells and pretty rocks. Caroline even found some smooth sea glass to use for windows. We should have brought a pail for all these things, said Mom. When they got back, they saw that David had already dug a moat and built a tower. There's the word tower. And hopefully you know what a moat is. That's something different. But around a castle, they would build like this, they would dig like this trench and fill it with water so that if enemies came, they wouldn't be able to get across the water to the castle. And then they would have a drawbridge that would come over that, and that's called a moat, the water that was around a castle. David had already dug a moat and built a tower. He'd use a pail, filled it with wet sand, and turned it over. Then he carefully lifted off the pail, and he had a tower shape. Now he was working on one of the walls. Caroline emptied her pockets of the decorations she and her mom had collected. As she looked down at the sand, she saw something glittering in the sun. "Look what I found," said Caroline, excitedly holding up a shiny round object for her mother to see. "Do you think it's a pirate coin?" Mom wasn't sure what the coin was, but she reminded the kids that they only had an hour left to finish their castle, so they'd better get to work. Caroline and David built 4 walls of equal length. There's 2 of our words, equal length. So that means the same size, right? The same of how long it was. Caroline and David built 4 walls of equal length inside the moat. They made holes in the walls for windows and added pieces of sea glass to make them look real. Caroline took handfuls of wet sand and let it drip out, 1 drop at a time, on top of the tower until it came to a point. David decorated the castle with shells. "We're sure to have the best castle," David boasted. Before they could add their action figures, one of the judges came over. "Nice castle," she said. "I like your windows. Those are super." "And look what I found," said Caroline. "Do you think it's a pirate coin?" The judge laughed. "No, young lady," she said. "Didn't you read the list of prizes? It says that whoever finds this coin will receive a prize, or get a prize, right? Your team has won a free dinner at Frank's Fish Restaurant. Congratulations." "Hooray," said David, who suddenly felt very hungry. "This is even better than a pirate coin. You can't eat those." Caroline, David, and their mother didn't win the sandcastle contest after all, but they went home happy and very full after a delicious dinner. All right, so I hope you recognized all the words with me, and I'm going to post 2 more videos to go with Worldly Wise, so look for those. All right, have a good day.